Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just need to let you guys know that the dynamic multi-frame generation that's coming out on the 31st is a much bigger deal than you think it is. And let me just let you in on some things you might not know about it. All right, so NVIDIA's new, so I ain't got to keep saying it. We'll just call it DMFG. Okay. Well, DMFG is going to launch the 31st. It's going to be part of the DLSS 4.5. And most people think that it's just another version of frame generation. No, no, no. They also think it's another version of frame generation that just simply boosts FPS. But there are actually a few interesting things about it that a lot of people don't know yet. So in this video, I'm going to go over just a few facts about new NVIDIA's new DMFG. So first, DMFG works like an automatic transmission in a car. Instead of sticking to a fixed generation multiplier like the previous versions of DLSS, the system can dynamically adjust how many frames it generates while you're playing. So if your GPU suddenly hits a heavy workload like explosions, lots of ray tracing, or if you just get into like a big dense environment, the system can increase the number of generated frames to keep performance smooth. And this is going to be seamless as well. So oh, buddy, I can't wait. But anyway, if the scene becomes lighter and easier to render, it can scale the frame generation back down to improve image quality and reduce latency. So, plus plus. The second thing most people don't realize is just how aggressive this new frame generation can get. With the new system, NVIDIA says it can generate up to 5 AI frames for every real rendered frame, that your GPU renders. So that means in an ideal situation, you could see up to 6 times the original frame rate. So if the game is rendering, let's just say 40 frames per second, let's say that's all you're getting because you got pad tracing on and everything. Well, the AI will theoretically generate enough additional frames to push the final output to something like 240 FPS. Is that not mind blowing? This is what we've been wanting, and NVIDIA, of course, is going to be the first one to give it to us. Thank you, NVIDIA. But anyway, uh, another interesting detail is that the system doesn't just look at your frame rate, it also analyzes scene complexity. So if something intense happens in the game, like a big physics event or a heavy ray trace lighting scene, the algorithm can detect that and increase the multiplier. So when things calm down again, it scales the generated frames back to maintain visual accuracy too. So this allows the system to maintain smoother frame pacing and instead of just chasing higher numbers, you're actually going to get a better visual image overall. So, and it's seamless. Now, here's something else that's pretty important. This technology is heavily designed for high refresh rate gaming. NVIDIA is clearly targeting the 165 to 240 hertz screens and even higher, really, with this feature. So the idea isn't just to increase FPS for the sake of it, but to keep frame output closer to the refresh rate of your display. That way, the gameplay feels consistently smooth instead of constantly fluctuating between frame rates. It'll jump up to 100 and jump down to 30, back up to 70. You know what I'm saying. Another big reason NVIDIA developed this technology is pad tracing. Fully pad traced games are incredibly demanding. Even powerful GPUs like the 5090 can struggle to run it smoothly at high resolutions, at least. Dynamic multi-frame generation helps make things like 4K pad tracing much more playable by using AI to fill in the missing frames that the GPU can realistically render in real time. There's also major hardware component behind all of this. While some parts of DLSS updates usually work on older RTX GPUs, the dynamic multi-frame generation system is primarily designed for NVIDIA's newer architecture, like the 50, especially the 50 series GPUs. These GPUs have much stronger tensor cores and improved optical flow accelerators, which are essential. You've got to have those for generating multiple AI frames accurately between each render frame. If you don't have a 50 series, it wouldn't run well on a 40 series. Let me just tell you that. It just wouldn't. Um, and finally, there's the part that not everyone is excited about, and that's latency. Whenever you generate additional frames using AI, you're technically increasing the time between real rendered frames. NVIDIA does not try to compensate for this with technologies like Reflex, but in competitive games, some players still prefer to avoid frame generation entirely because they want the lowest possible input latency. You don't want to get killed, because you're a couple of milliseconds off, right? So while DMFG might sound like another FPS boosting feature, is actually a pretty big shift in how games might handle performance going forward. I think they've got something here, guys. I think this may be the way we go because I think our hardware is pretty much tapped out at this point, really. So instead of rendering more frames with raw GPU power, we're starting to see systems that intelligently decide how many frames to exist at any given moment. And as AI models continue to improve, technologies like this could be, whew, it could be the future, really. If as long as you're using features like ray tracing and path tracing, they're much more accessible today. They're in a lot of games. But the real question is going to be how well it works once people get it in their hands after March 31st. On paper, this technology sounds impressive, but the real test is always how it performs in actual games. So let me know down in the comments what you think about dynamic multi-frame generation. Is this the future of gaming performance, or is it just another marketing feature from NVIDIA? I don't think so. I think it's the real deal. I think this is going to be something we wish we had years and years back. So sorry for rambling so long, guys, but I just wanted you guys to know exactly what this is, just in case you may want to try it out. I'm if you're on an AMD card, I really, really, really feel for you guys. I do. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.